Hello friends, welcome back to our lesson on subroutines. So today we are going to continue with the lesson which we started last time. In our last class we saw how to create functions in Flowgorithm. So today we are going to do procedures. We'll use the same example we had in our previous class, which was a function that takes in two numbers, that's two integers as parameters, x and y, calculates the sum and then returns the sum or the result as sum. Okay. So what we'll do is, for procedure, before we dive into procedure, it's good we know the difference between a procedure and a function. So one of the most common differences is that a function has a return value. That is, a function returns a value. Okay, whereas a procedure does not return a value. What a procedure does, it executes just instructions. So today we'll see how to create a procedure using the same example for sum of two numbers. Okay, so as you can see, we already created our function sum, which we did in our previous class, is still here. So what we'll do is we'll use this same function, but we'll modify it so that it becomes a procedure. Okay. So this was our function. You can clearly see here that it states that it indicates here that it has a return value. Look at it very well. You see here that we have return integer result. That is, the function returns the sum of the two numbers taken in as parameters. Okay, but now what we'll do is we are going to modify it so that it becomes a procedure. And to do that, I'll go back to my function manager. I will select this and edit. Okay, I'll edit it. I will now tick return type none, because a procedure does not have a return type. Okay, it does not return anything. Reason why procedures, as times they say, they are void. Their return value is void, nothing. Okay, so that's the only thing I will change here, and then I'll click on OK. So with that, I'll click on done, and then you now see here, you can clearly see here now that there's no return value as we had before here. So I'm doing this because I do not want to make my video too long. Okay, so this our procedure takes in the two numbers num1 and num2, adds them up, and assigns the sum to result. So what we'll do, we'll add now is just the output. Since we said procedures do not return values, so we'll just add the output. We'll add the output, and in our output, what is going to be our message? You see the sum is space and with the quotes, and then we'll add the variable. Which variable is that? Of course, sum. Okay, no, sorry, result. And result is the sum of the two numbers. Okay, once we've done that, click on OK. So you can clearly see here that we have a result which is equals to num1 plus num2, and then we'll output that same result as the sum. Once we've done that, we'll go back to our main. So this is the main function. Go back to our main function. And what are we going to add? We are going to add our output here. No, sorry, we'll call on the procedure after taking in the two numbers. So we'll call on the procedure. To do that, you come under control, you see call. This call is used to call procedures and functions. So we'll click on call, then we'll simply give the name of the procedure we want to call, which in this case is sum, and the parameters. But in some cases, we may not use parameters. In this our case, we have parameters x and y, which are the two numbers. Okay, once we've done that, you can then click on OK, and then we will now run our procedure. So you see, enter the first number. It says enter the first number. I've entered 1. Second number, say 2. The result should be 3. So the sum is 3. So we see that it works. Okay, it works. Now there's one aspect we could still. I want us to just check the equivalent in pseudocode, the equivalent of this our flowchart in pseudocode. So we'll click on this button, the source code viewer. We'll click on it now. Okay, this is the equivalent in Python, but we need pseudocodes. So let's start with Gandhi pseudocode. Now I prefer we take IPO. Okay. So we have auto pseudocode. In auto pseudocode, as you can clearly see here, we have our main function here where everything is there, output, enter the first number, the second, then we call on the procedure here. Then we have our procedure written here directly below, which takes in as parameters num1, num2, and then assigns the sum of these two numbers to a result, and then at the end we output. So you can, after doing this, you can even copy. You can copy this pseudocode and paste in a Word document. Maybe I should just try and show you how it is done. I will open my Word document and paste, or any other document or file. So let me show you. With that now, I can paste it here. As you can see, this is my procedure. Okay, so that is it for procedures. See you in our next class, and God bless you. Remember to subscribe, please. Subscribe, like,